Hey, Internet. So I'm thinking a lot of people have at least once in their life thought, I'd like to learn a language, right? Oftentimes we have to take it right. Here in the United States, most of us have to take some kind of language credit, whether that's like Spanish or French or German, something along those lines. And I think for a lot of us, that's our exposure to language learning. And so we think that, well, we kind of have to do it right. But today I want to talk a bit about why I think everyone should learn a language, or at least 10 reasons why to learn a language. And these 10 options aren't in any particular order, right? So it's not like number 1 is the best reason or 10 is the best reason. It's just, here are 10 things I was thinking of the other day of like why I like to learn languages, and I think they can apply to everyone. So let's start with number 1. Number 1 is career opportunity. So in many jobs, being able to speak a different language could open up more opportunity. So here in the United States, if you know Spanish, that's a pretty useful skill. There's a lot of Spanish speakers here in the United States, especially if you're in states like California, Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, Florida, etc. And also being able to speak different languages might allow you to travel for your job. And so then you don't have to have a job just in your hometown or wherever you are currently, but then maybe you are able to take trips internationally, going to factories abroad or different headquarters abroad. Number 2 on this list is the friendships that emerge from learning a language. I've had so many friends over the years. Some have come and gone, but some are still in my life to this day that I met simply because of learning a language. We connected cross-culturally, helped each other learn each other's languages, and have just remained friends over the years. There's been so many moments. I've gotten to go inside the cockpit of an airplane because I made friends with a Cuban flight attendant. There's been times where I've had dinner with a group of Brazilians because I just became friends with them. And like, there's been so many amazing opportunities and relationships that have come just because I was able to speak the language. Even if it wasn't perfect, it still bridged that gap. Number 3 on this list is makes travel a little easier, right? If you like traveling internationally, it's going to make the transit process a little easier, being able to like listen for the airport codes and the terminals and the trams, all the different kinds of transit stuff. It just helps if you can speak a little bit of the language, and usually makes things a little less anxious too. And then also there's the obvious of, if you go to Paris and go to a French cafe, if you speak French, you're not only going to have a better interaction with the cafe workers, but you'll have a better interaction with other people there, and you'll be able to connect more deeply to that culture. Reason number 4 on this list, it opens your mind, right? It makes you realize that your normal is just that, yours. Everyone's got a different sense of normal and a different way of doing things. It forces you to consider and look at other approaches to life, and maybe, just maybe, you can glean something from that. And number 5 on this list is it challenges you and grows you, right? So when it comes to learning a language, you're in it for the long run, right? You're committing to something that doesn't have an end point, right? Think about your own native language. When was the last time you learned new words or phrases or terms in your own native language, right? There's no end to learning a language, and that can be super intimidating. But I think that when you commit yourself to growing and learning in something that doesn't really have an end point, I think that challenges you, grows you, and speaks a lot to your character. Number 6 on this list is just simply learning something new, right? I think sometimes in life we can get stagnant and get static and just kind of going through the motions and the routines. And sometimes it's nice to learn something new and just change things up a little bit, right? On top of the many other reasons on this list, sometimes simply learning something new is just like the cog in the machine, or the thing that just changes your life for the better and actually sets you on a new direction. Just got to shake things up a little bit. Number 7 on this list is you can grow your current relationships, right? So I mentioned earlier about forming new friendships through language, but maybe you can deepen the relationships you already have. Maybe you have a friend who grew up here in the United States but is Mexican by heritage and his parents only speak Spanish. The next time you go over to his house to hang out, you can speak to his parents and connect with him on that level too. Or maybe your grandparents are from like Romania or something like that, and they don't speak English super well. And your whole life, you've always wanted to connect with them deeper and learn more about your own heritage. And then you learn that local language and grow deeper, wherever it is that they're from. I think that's pretty cool. Number 8 on this list is an interesting one. I realized that I can connect more deeply with art and culture through language, right? So I think of a lot of like the French art and history, right? Seeing that now through the context of like where my French is at, although it's not perfect, I'm able to kind of see and understand where French people were at a bit more at that time. And it deepens the passion that I have for that art and history through that cultural lens. I don't know. That's just a pretty cool thing, I think. Number 9 on this list is it's fun. Like, it's absolutely fun. When you speak your first conversation with someone in a different language, it is such a cool experience. It's so different than so many things that we do in life, right? Like, even to this day, when I speak to someone in a different language, again, I am far from perfect. I have a lot of free time on my hands, which helps to learn languages. But the reality is like, even when I speak whatever I can speak in a language, that connection, that communication, to me still gets me excited, still pumps me up, because it's still such a fun thing to do. Yes, there's challenges. Yes, there's frustrating, boring moments in the routines. But man, connecting with people, which is something I love to do, that is so fun. And number 10 on this list, again, none of these are in any particular order, but you got to always end with a banger. And I think 10, language learning makes you a better person. Again, because of all the reasons we talked about, it makes you more open-minded, more open to others. It makes you slower to judge, slower to think about something a certain way, and more willing to look at the world with different eyes and different lenses. It can enrich your life. It can improve your life. And it can just make life more fun and more interesting. So, if you're wondering, where do I start? Check out some of my other videos. Check out some amazing YouTubers such as Ollie Richards or Benny Lewis. They're phenomenal language learners who are way smarter than me and have so much to offer. I hope to be able to encourage you to continue on the path to language learning. And anyone can do it. I promise you, I'm living proof of that. So, my challenge to you, dear viewer, if you have not chosen a language that you want to learn, or if you do know the language you want to learn, but just haven't taken that first step, do that this week, right? Pick a day on your calendar, set aside an hour of time, right? If you're like me, if it's not on my calendar, I don't do it. So set aside an hour of time sometime this week, right? 60 minutes in this week, and just look up basic phrases and words for that language. If it's German, just Google German basic phrases, German basic vocabulary, and just learn those little bits, and then start using them. Start practicing them. Check out apps like Hello Talk and italki to find people to connect with. Tandem's another good one. I'll do some videos later on the channel kind of reviewing some different language learning apps, showing their pros and cons, but those are good places to start. So as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao!